So my first list for you would be something like this, right? So I already did at the top, you can see Florida industrial. I would go to sales not within, let's say, 25 years.
Yeah, I was gonna start at like anything before 2021.
I mean, so anyways, like you got basically this is 25 years not sold within you have 35,000 properties. If we just do owners, includes a phone number, you have 93,000 assets, tax brackets. Let's see here, 200,000 you said? Yeah, so 21,000 properties. If we continue, let's see, not sold in the last 5 years. So that's not bad. I mean, if you're pulling 2,000 at a time, you're going to get 6,000 of these properties pretty quick.
Yeah,
So
I think that's definitely a good start there. I mean, and then you got to refine the list and
for
slam through
sure.
them
I mean, I
once.
would even
And
say you could even do something like this, right? So the entire state of Florida, and then you start playing around with like the previous sold price per square foot. You drop that down to like 25 or 50, just to get started. You can play around with that. So something like this would probably be a good list to start. Not sold in 10 years, 25 bucks a foot. That overall, you're going to probably get, these are going to be great assets. I mean, this guy stole this building for $1 million. Um,
you'd
it's,
recommend going statewide or just sticking to Miami-Dade to start off?
I mean, look, it depends. I mean, do you have any buyer clients already in the market or no?
I got nothing.
Okay. So, I definitely don't mind maybe sticking with, a little pocket, right? And maybe do the Miami-Dade up to West Palm MSA and start there. I mean, it's obviously one of the most competitive markets out there, but it's also a good market because there's a lot of buyers for it. That's why it's very
Yeah.
competitive. So it might be a decent place for you to start. But I'd also say that, I just like to stay away from like the really tertiary parts of Florida. The greater Tampa area, the greater Jacksonville area, and the greater Miami-Dade markets, right? Those MSAs, those are probably good places for you to start. There's a lot of demand, a lot of strength in those markets for sure.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
Okay, we could do that. And then so at this point here, I'm just working on getting my licensing. How do you want to deal with any leads that I come up with? Do you want to or do you want me to create a spreadsheet, send them over to you, or how far along do you want me to take those?
Yeah, so it's up to you, right? So, us just kind of try to figure out something together. We can try to figure out an amicable plan, right? Whether if you want to refer it sooner rather than later, or if you want to take it as far if you want to take it to contract and then you just get paid out the vast majority and call it a day, right? It's like whatever you want to do, I'm okay with.
So then I'll be sending out, say, letters of intent there out of my company name, right? My LLC.
Mhm.
And then depending on how the deal goes, we just let the seller know that, hey, actually, this is a better fit for my partner, or how do you normally, yeah, deal with that?
Yeah, so exactly right. So like actually it's like, it depends on which way you want to spin it, but say like, okay, you make an offer, they don't want to, they don't make sense of your offer. I still can still go to them and say like, hey, would you be totally against listing the property for sale? Like I have local partners in the area that, we work with individuals just like yourself all the time and try to help you get top dollar. Since it's looking like you want top dollar, why don't we go down that route, right?
Sure.
He can introduce you, like say, like, I have a great, my partner down there is one of the top commercial brokers in the area. Can help you that way, right? We can end up listing the property for sale, or you can even just say, like, hey, just curious, right? Like, I don't think this property's gonna work for me, but I do have a few partners that I think it might work better for. Do you mind if I put the information in front of them and see what they say? And they say yes,
Yeah.
no problem. Then you flip it into a broker deal.
Okay, that works there. With Mojo there, does it figure out the do not call list on its own, or how does that work?
You just check a box and it says filter by do not call lists.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Yeah, I mean, pretty much I'll probably get REONOMY going tomorrow. Yeah, start hitting the phones, and I mean, if I can download 2,000, I can pretty much filter through those, and should be able to get one or two leads out of that.
Easily, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, out of a list of 2,000 records, you'll probably get in touch with, somewhere around 20 to 30% of those people from Reonomy, right? So you
Okay.
get an actual contact hit based on how many times you're gonna have to call the list several times, right? So you're gonna have to make sure when you call the list, you have to be very careful. So like when you're calling Reonomy and you only have 1,000, 2,000 exports, you need to be really diligent about your process. So what I would
Mhm.
recommend is that every person who answers the phone, you're deleting the number. So if it's someone where they answer the phone and it's the wrong number, obviously you're just going to delete the number and you're going to go to the next contact in that within that same record. If it's someone who answers the phone and it's the correct person, you're still going to then delete that number and put it into your CRM system. And then you're going
Right.
to delete every other number underneath that record. So what
Okay.
you're doing is you're cleaning the list as you're calling the list, right?
Sure. Okay.
Because with only 2,000 numbers, you have to realize you're going to call that same list probably something between 4 and 10 times before you turn to the next list.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So just
That
be
could
very
that could easily
constant.
do.
You need to be very cognizant that you need to be adjusting that list as you go through it, or you're going to screw yourself over every time you call through it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, for me anyway. Any suggestions for me?
Yeah. Let's see here. Let me just go through some more of your notes here. One of the biggest things that I see that people miss out on, right? Which is like I was just having this conversation earlier today, which is people might be really good at generating leads, right? They're good on the phones. They're good at talking to sellers. They're good at even sometimes, taking things to the next step. Maybe you've been watching my content like I know you have and understanding the process around making starter offers, and you're really good on that side of the process. And then and then you might even be decent at finding a bunch of buyer leads, right? And then the problem is how do you get them to actually do business together, right? So it's
Right.
just that piece of the business. My goal for you is like, look, generating 1 to 2 seller leads every single day, and then working on generating one true offer every single day, which means in order to get there, that's talking to any amount of buyers that you've generated, right? Obviously, you're prospecting a new market. So the goal is to say, like, within your first 90 days, you have generated at least one seller lead minimum a day. And you've also generated, probably while you're doing that, you're probably going to generate one buyer lead on average per day. And of those buyer leads, maybe 10 or 20% are actually going to be really decent, and the rest are just going to be not great. So that means in
Sure.
90 days of working, let's just say 20 working days each month, you're going to generate 60 seller leads and probably 60 buyer leads. And of the 60 buyer leads, let's call it 20%. So that's 12 decent buyers. Those 12 decent buyers, you're going to work your tail off to try to get them to make as many offers as possible on the 60 seller leads that you've generated, because it's really freaking hard to not get some deals accepted when you're making 1 or 2 offers a day every day. True offers, right?
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
including the
yeah,
starters.
exactly.
How many true offers do you think you've written up since the beginning of the year?
Since the beginning of this year, none here.
The goal here is like, and I would even say, even for where you are in Canada, like that's the biggest challenge that I see a lot of people having right now, right?
Yeah.
Talking to buyers every day and pitching deals and trying to find 3, 4, 5, or 6 great buyers eventually over your career, maybe a dozen or 2 dozen great VIP buyers who are looking to buy product all day long, and
Yeah.
finding product for those people. Because think about it like this, if you just had, let's say, 3 amazing VIP buyers that are looking to buy 2 or 3 deals every year, and all you did was hunt for deals for these individuals, right? You could do 3, 4, 5, or 6 deals every year with the same 3 guys, right? Making
Yeah.
100K a clip, right? Or more, right? Give or take. And it doesn't have to feel hard. But the
Yeah,
problem is
exactly.
that most people don't have those VIP buyers, and they just prospect for the prospecting's sake. And then they find these leads and they don't know how to find another buyer.
So the buyers that you have that you know and trust and to have developed relationships with, have you met them through just cold calling prospecting, or is it a
Majority.
combination of that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like events and social events and
All
all
of
that as
it.
well?
All of it.
Yeah.
Yep. And look, keep in mind that like the biggest way to vet them is by sending them deals. Because like you
Yeah,
can
to see
clearly see on
totally.
Reonomy, you can see that they own a bunch of properties. You can see when they bought their last property. If they bought their last property 6 years ago and they own 1 or 2 other, let's say they own 2 properties, including the one you just called on, and one of them is the industrial building and the other one's a 5 unit multifamily next to the house that they live in, they're probably not going to be a great buyer, even though they're like, yeah, like always send me good stuff. Yeah, like if you send me something, I'll always take a look at it. That's not who we're looking for. We're looking for a guy who's bought 3 properties in the last 12 months and has 46 properties right now, right? And they're all within a submarket, and he pays $250 a foot. And there's plenty of those people. I mean, literally, dude, like look how simple this is, right? You can literally go on Reonomy, the same exact things we just plugged in, which is industrial, phone number. You can even get rid of the 25. You can get rid of the past 10 years. The tax doesn't really matter. So all this is all we're going to leave. Okay, you got 22,000 properties. All you can do now is you can go to sold within, okay, the last 12 months, hit apply, and you go to owners. So this just gives you all the people. This guy owns 8 properties in the state of Florida. This guy's on 8 properties, right? Investcorp. Like you can see all these different people. Pink is industrial. You can see all these individuals. I'm actually going to click person. Let's go to person. So you're not calling it, funds and stuff like that. You can call just traditional properties. So like I would know the top 50 people, right? The first 50 people on this list are people that I would call. You can see that they all, 2025, 2025, last 2020, last 12 months, last 12 months, 12 months, 12 months, 12 months. Everything here is 12 months except for this one here. Every single one of those is 12 months, right? The last acquisition within the last 12 months, right? So, I mean, obviously we're searching the last 12 months worth of transactions, but my point is the top 50 people on this list should be your best friends, right? Go shake their hand, go meet them face to face, take them for coffee. And maybe at the end of 12 months, maybe you've met 6 of them face to face and you know 4 of them really well. That's it, dude. All these people, do you understand? Like, dude, if you had these 50 people in your back pocket after the course of 3 years, the total of this, right? Like 2, 4, right? 50 people times 2 deals. That's 100 properties.
Yep.
I mean, these 50 people bought 150 properties, 160, 180 properties in the last 12 months. How many more people do you really need to make money? That's it. And like, look, I know for a fact that if you knew all 50 of those people, you're absolutely not going to sell 180 properties next year, right? But you have a really fucking high likelihood of selling at least a few. Like, it'd be really hard for you to not make money if you just prospected, found a few interesting deals, and be like, oh, that's great for John. Oh, that's great for Sally. Oh, that's great for Steven. That's it.